podcast is a member of WildGamesProductions.com and D20Radio.com.
I'm Chuck Norris, and I approve this game.
Between the time when gamers played with miniatures and chainmail and the rise of the Wizards of the Coast, there was an age of advanced role-playing undreamed of. And onto the Skygax, destined to bear the jeweled crown of TSR upon a troubled brow, it was given to teach us all how to roll for initiative.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
This is the Roll for Initiative podcast, volume number 3, issue number 137. DM Vince sitting alongside DM Matt.
Hello, everyone.
DM Chad.
Yo.
DM Nick.
Hey, everybody.
And special guest appearance by Thacko's Hammers original DM Corey.
Am I in the wrong studio? Hey, guys, what's going on?
Yes, you are in the wrong studio. Part of Thacko's Hammer.
Down the hall.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Past the dead orc.
You guys seem more interesting today, so I think I'll sit in with you guys.
Right. Anyone interested in listening to Thacko's Hammer, that'd be thackoshammer.info. They are the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd edition, I guess. I don't know. I didn't know there was anything after 1st edition, so.
We're the ones that fixed it.
Oh. I didn't
we-
realize Dungeons & Dragons continued after 1988.
It
Yes.
did? Oh.
Nice.
Anyway, there'll be no edition wars on this podcast, but
No.
we all know that 2nd edition sucks. But anyway,
We love all the editions, don't we?
we love everything, and we hug them all and kiss them all. And
Every edition is equal, just some are more equal.
Yes.
Nice.
so let's see what's going on. Oh, so let's ignore the fans, Matt. Let's talk some wrestling right now, real quick. We
Okay.
have Royal Rumbles tonight.
Yep.
And what's your prediction for the winner of Royal Rumble?
Batista.
You think so?
Yep. Batista Orton Mania is my thought.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I want to see the winner of Royal Rumble take on the big winner of the Grammys.
That would be money. That would be a license to print money. We need
Batista versus Justin Timberlake.
Yes.
Oh my God, I would see that free.
If only WCW still existed, they would probably do it.
Yeah, you're right.
That would be so awesome.
Give David Arquette the world title. It'll give anybody the world title.
Exactly.
Only if I can see Goldberg spear Seth Rogen, I would pay money.
Now that
Yes.
is a good time.
That just happened.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, just
Anyway. So let's talk a little bit to Corey here. Corey, what have you been doing lately?
drawing, and some more drawing. Just finished a map for a Forgotten Realms author, Eric Scott Tabai, doing a new book, an indie book, Dungeons and Dragons related, for his own world called World of Ruin. Working on my own Kickstarter for my own comic book company and getting the graphic novel inked and finalized. And I've been talking to my friend. He's a really great friend of mine. He's got another idea for a podcast down the pipe, but it's a little hush hush right now, but we're working on it. So,
Oh, gee, I wonder who that person might be. As our network keeps expanding, more podcasts coming into the fold. We're still working on getting that Dead Game Society podcast going.
Yeah, everybody's like, you know what? These schmucks over here can do it. Hey, we can do it too.
Yeah, that was pretty much our game plan. That was actually our maybe we could do it. Let's wing it. Well, we finally got the. I think we finally have the website package corrected. So now we can actually start. We can get the WordPress up, and we get the site back out there, and actually start hosting the podcasts. Put some links there.
Yeah, as soon as that's fixed up, I can get in there.
Believe it or not, we have 2 episodes already recorded. So,
Yeah,
Nice.
Are they edited and ready to go?
they're edited and ready to go.
Awesome. All right. So Nick, what have you been doing lately?
Let's see. Actually got back into my friend Jeff's campaign. It's kind of like the Game of Thrones sort of thing.
Yeah.
It got pretty intense this last game. We were actually taking on a few giants and ogres. It got pretty dicey, but we took them out. So luckily I had a giant slaying sword.
Nice.
So, yeah, it was a good time. Yeah, we were following the whole campaign's revolving around fire drakes right now. And every 40 years or so, give or take, in this game world, there's this infestation of fire drakes that happens, and it just roll over the world just like locusts.
Wow.
And one of the opponents to this kingdom apparently is trying to grab the hatchlings, or at least their eggs, and have the fire drakes for himself or his army. Not only that, but he is in cahoots with giants and ogres. So he's trying to build up an army, not just of mercenaries, of humans, but ogres. You got, looks like mountain giants, hill giants, and stone giants too. So we were able to follow them. There was a cart that they load up all these hatchling eggs, and they head through this abandoned town towards this abandoned keep. And we get there, and I'm like, okay, what's next? So I'm like, being the strategy guy, I'm like, okay, we got to find the highest structure here so we can have an observation of there. And I'm thinking very tactically, right? Right. Going back to my military training, it's like, okay, this is what we do. And I'm saying, okay, you two guys, the thieves, and you with the barbarian, go recon the area and see what we have to deal with as far as the bad guys. So one of the thieves in the party, she goes up, and there's this little battlement area across a bridge, basically a small tower. And she goes to there. She climbs the wall, and she sees, oh, there's a guard over there over by a brazier, trying to keep himself warm at night. And she sees that there's other guards. There's 4 other guards inside this small tower. And at the top of the tower, she kills the guard. I'm like, no! I said, recon! Don't kill anybody. Recon, report back. No. So I'm like, oh, well, screw it. So we go, and luckily nobody in the keep was observing what was going on out there. So we actually took those guys out. We went to the keep, and there was one of my arch nemesis was in there talking to a hill giant and a mountain giant and a stone giant. I'm like, okay, guys, we got to take these guys out. So we came up with a plan. The bridge was in really bad shape, and there was some horses left from those guards at that one small tower. So one of the guys had a good skill roll for masonry, and found out, okay, this support, we use these horses to pull this support out with some rope, the bridge will collapse. So we timed it to where they were crossing the bridge with the cart of all those eggs that collapsed the bridge. We took out the giants, and still there's going to be some problems because my nemesis escaped. So yeah, it's getting pretty intense. So he's escaped. He's going north, and we're going to track his butt down. So, all right. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's really fun.
Sweet.
Yeah.
How about you, Matt?
Unfortunately, not a lot of gaming. I had drove to New York for a friend's 30th birthday party that was Victorian themed, so we were in a Victorian house all weekend and partied, and quality fun was had. And yeah, in March I'm going to have be involved in a pro wrestling match. Not exactly sure how I got suckered into it, but I'll be having a tag team match.
Were you drunk at the time?
No, it would just kind of happen. You get someone slaps you around, you go back, you end up spearing them during their match, costing them the match, and next thing you know, you're in a tag match. It happens.
Is there going to be a folding chair involved at any time?
You never know. Could. Possibly. I don't know. But
you never know what's underneath those mats.
Oh, no. Underneath the ring is a magical, mystical place where it's almost like a bag of holding. You never know what maybe you could pull out.
So does that Matt, are you like the new Paul Heyman now or something?
No. Just I was doing camera work, and one of the managers slapped me around, so he was having a match later, and I decided to interject myself.
Did you choke slam him?
No, I just speared him and got rolled out of the ring quick so the other guy could pin him.
Oh, okay.
So I cost him his match.
And this was all on the spur? This wasn't pre-planned or anything?
No, I had no idea what was happening.
Okay.
Yep.
So when it was all said and done, they smelled what Matt was cooking.
Yep.
Ew.
Yeah. If you've ever been in a wrestling locker room, that would probably smell better than a wrestling locker room. Yeah. Axe and butt.
What wrestling federation are you with?
Northern Wrestling Federation out of Cincinnati.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we've had a few people of note come out of our training school and work for us, so
awesome.
It's cool. Yeah.
So one day we'll see Matt as a manager in the WWE, hopefully.
No, not my goal. No, I'm enjoying what I'm doing now, and I wouldn't want the insane road schedule of the WWE. I like being home.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that cut into all your gaming.
Exactly. I mean, yes, if I'm traveling, but how am I going to game? No.
There you go. Priorities.
You could sit in the back and play D&D with Cody and Triple H.
Oh yes. No.
You could play. What is it? The All Flesh Must Be Eaten. The supplement Zombie Smackdown.
Yeah, or I could dig out that old WWE D20 RPG.
Oh God!
Oh my God!
Or that WWF by Wit RPG by Wit Publications back in 1993.
You know, you could play the Know Your Role game and have Vince McMahon play Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
Hey, whip out the old Marvel role playing, and you guys could do what was it called?
The Universal
Universal
Wrestling.
Yeah. What was it? The UFW or something like
Universal Class Wrestling.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
Or was it Unlimited?
Unlimited. It was a U word, Class Wrestling.
Yeah, something like that. Ultimate Muscle, whatever. I don't know.
Ultimate Muscle.
You remember that cartoon? Ultimate Muscle.
I remember those little pink toys. I still have some of them in a drawer somewhere. Those little inaction figures. They were just solid polyurethane. Started using them as erasers.
Yeah, I remember those. Oh my God.
So anyway, okay, cool. I got back in town the other day, and I do apologize for all those who were playing in my first edition podcast. We had to postpone it due to a family emergency, so we'll be getting back up soon. But anyway, I got back in town the other day and was able to meet up with my Shadowrun group.
Oh.
And got a good game of Shadowrun in, and we had some good hijinks in that. And we threw the GM, who was a brand new GM, off completely.
Oh, evil players.
Oh, yeah, he had something planned, and we went the opposite total direction. He was like, oh. It's like, ha.
Nice.
Anyway, so I guess that's about it.
I did go to Midwinter Games in Milwaukee last weekend. That was kind of fun.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, it was all right. A lot of White Wolf going on there, but we ran DGS ran a top secret / our own kind of setting called Checkpoint Charlie, Cold War era adventure, and Harold Johnson was at the table.
Oh, cool!
Like one of the agents, and it was interesting though because we've ran this scenario Operation Goodnight at a couple other conventions. It always ends a little differently every time, but this time they never really got beyond the first page of the adventure. They got to their safe house, and then it evolved into a shootout between MI6 and CIA within the safe house. Needless to say, they did not.
Damn Yankee.
Their cover was blown very quickly, and then after the shootout, it was every man for himself.
They never really got over that thing with the American Revolution, did they?
No, probably not.
Still some sore feelings.
Okay. One thing I do remember, Vince and everybody else, today, as we're recording, January 26th, today, I guess. In history, today is the official 40th anniversary of D&D going on sale.
That is correct.
Yes.
40 years ago.
Happy birthday to you.
1974. It means I'm older than the game. Wow.
Haha.
Yeah, I'm old. So happy birthday, D&D. Without that, I wouldn't be here talking about D&D on a podcast with a bunch of people whom I haven't even met.
We'd all be sitting on PlayStation or something, doing something else.
We've all met. What are you talking about?
So there's that.
Yeah.
We sit in the same room, Nick. What are you talking about?
We are?
Right.
Recording, yes.
Yeah.
Sure. Right.
Absolutely.
As far as you know.
As far as you know, exactly.
Yeah.
Where are you?
I'm in the bathroom on a cell phone.
Oh. Excuse me while I flush.
Great.
Anyway.
Now you revealed the location of our office.
In the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yes, of the let's steal the Broken Skull Ranch here in Texas for our studios. That's right.
Yes.
So anyway, happy birthday, D&D.
Yes. Happy birthday. Let's head into Sage Advice.
Sage Advice.
Sage Advice. This week we have some emails for you. If you want to contact us, that's rfistaff@gmail.com. Head over to rfipodcast.com and click on the contact form, and you can send us an email that way. Facebook.com/RFI Podcast. You can find us on Twitter, RFI Podcasts, or you can call 570-865-4210, the hotline, where nobody's standing by because everybody's on vacation.
Yeah, we do that from time to time. We let him go.
Christopher Walken might pick up the phone once in a while, though.
He'll be on there. He'll say, "Wow, what questions?
Yes.
I've got no answers."
And that will be the last time we hear Christopher Walken on the show until somebody leaves a star on iTunes.
Yeah, we haven't had any since October, folks. Get out there to iTunes, please.
Yes, we're
rate us.
We're gagging Christopher Walken and tying him up and throwing him into the basement, and we're no longer hearing from him until we have a star review.
Yeah,
I saw
and
that
he'll
movie.
be very mad.
Anyway, our first email comes in from David D, and he says, "Hello, esteemed hosts. Recently, I was shown a PDF version of Unearthed Arcana. It starts with the same cover, title page, and preface from Gary as my 1985 printed edition. But then, to my surprise, it diverges. For instance, the PDF next goes into expanded character races, including the infamous, I don't even know how to pronounce it, from SVIRF.
Oh, Nerf Neblin.
Nerf Neblin. Yeah.
And things like half ogres, which are definitely not in my printed edition. Strangely, there are no dedicated pages with printing dates or introduction pages. I went back and noticed that the fonts and Gary's signature is also different. There are really more differences than similarities. There are, however, some interesting things in the PDF, such as details for magic creation, but then there are some not so useful things, such as expansive psionic section. Everything appears to be in the first edition format. So my question, is there a later version of the 1E Unearthed Arcana, or was there a second edition version printed, or is this someone's personal amalgamation of stuff? Love to hear your thoughts. Thanks, David D.
I know about this because I have a copy of this. It was someone's own personal take on Unearthed Arcana. And yeah, it's not an official thing. So
okay.
But
does it look good?
It's okay. I mean, I'm trying to find it here on my computer right now, but
why you do that?
I know the half ogres. You could find them in Dragon Magazine number 73, the best darn door opener. Actually, it was called the whole half ogre.
Was there a UA done for second edition, Corey?
What's that?
Was there a Unearthed Arcana done for second edition? I don't even know.
I don't think there was.
Yeah, it's called the Complete Book of Fighters, the Complete Book of Thieves, the Complete Book of...
There you go.
No, there was no Unearthed Arcana. That essentially went, somebody, I guess, over TSR went, hey, we got some extra stuff. Let's put it in a new book. In second edition, they went, hey, I have an idea. Let's make 15 books and make 15 times the money. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't really that complete of a book, was it? Since you had to buy 15 different books.
Yeah. I got my complete Psionicis. I'm happy.
Nick, did you find that PDF or?
No, I can't seem to find it. I did have a copy of it somewhere, but I do remember that. Yeah, it looked like it was the 85 cover of Unearthed Arcana, and there was a few other things, but what he said, there's little added things like the half ogre and some things about magic creation or magic item creation and stuff like that. Yeah, that was like some independent project that was done by somebody. So yeah, that's not an official TSR product by no stretch of the imagination. So.
All right, our second email comes in from DM Dan, and he says, Hi host, I am curious about your use and non-use of adjusting ability scores. When starting a new group of PCs, when rolling up characters, have you ever let your players adjust ability scores? What do you think about this practice? In the past, I have done this in the following different ways. 1, I have let players swap numbers on one ability score for another. For example, if a character wants a higher dexterity, they can subtract 1 from their intelligence and then add 1 to their dexterity. I have found that, though, this has led to min-maxing. So, yeah, that probably does do that. Mm-hmm. He used that way back in the day when he was younger and make super characters back in the day, he says. Also, number 2, I have let players add a number to their ability score by subtracting 2 from another ability score. This really makes characters think about modifying their scores because it's a high price to pay. So the 2 for 1. A lot of people have done that, yeah?
Yeah, I've done that before.
I only let players switch between physical and mental scores. For example, if a character wants to add 1 to their strength, they can only subtract 1 from their intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. The problem I have had with this method, though, is that people tend to cannibalize their charisma score as a throwaway. Yeah. Recently, I've abandoned this practice altogether, though. In my current group, he wrote this differently. Okay, recently I have abandoned this practice altogether, though, in my current group. What do you all do? Thanks, Steve. I think you meant to add something else there. Sorry if I'm reading it wrong, but anyway. I don't even do the min-maxing thing. I don't allow it at all. What about you, Matt?
I really don't either. In my current game, I did have a player who wanted to make his half-orc dumber because his even when he rolled all the stats, his intelligence was still too high for his liking.
Well, that's fine.
So I let him drop that, and I think I let him. He wanted to drop it like 2 or 3 points. So I'm like, okay, I'll let you increase, basically let it be a 2 for 1, since the whole point of it was to drop the wisdom down lower, not increase another stat. But yeah.
Huh. Nick, what about you?
I've done that from time to time, but just like character creation, like you can take 2 stats and increase another one by 1. So I've done that 2-to-1 ratio thing in the past. I don't do it anymore. I just do a standard die roll method, 4d6, or no, I'm sorry, 3d6, reroll 1s and 2s.
Ooh.
That's what I do. So minimum score of 9 for everybody.
Senor Chad. What about you, Chad?
Actually, I still do the 2 for 1, but I have a bit of a different way of approaching it because my philosophy is, it's a game and everybody has something they want to play. But if you're like, I'm just 1 point short of what I need to be a paladin, in charisma. So you can drop 2 points off a non-essential stat. It's not really that. Okay, you can put in to your charisma from a non-essential stat at double the cost, but you can only do it until you get to that level where you now qualify. So you'll never, by doing it this way, you're basically saying your guy just barely meets the requirements to be in that field. So he's not the shining example of a paladin, but he can do it.
Okay. And how about you, Corey?
If you're a paladin and you're a human paladin and you really need that extra point charisma, yeah, I'll do it. But if somebody just wants it to min-max, usually my players, I can tell which one wants the extra point for the class and which person wants it for min-maxing. But I've had players like drop stats and I really want to play this guy who's a wizard, but I want to play him like Dr. Doolittle. I want him to be forgetful and forget where he put his potion. I want to lower his wisdom. All right, go ahead. That's fine with me. If you want to do that, that's fine. But if they're like, I want to lower it, I'm not going to say, well, you have 2 extra points now. You can put them wherever you want, because usually the first place they put it, prime requisite stat, right into where it's. And I'm like, no. So yeah, I mean, I got to take it on case by case basis. But usually, if you're looking for a minimum requirement for class, I'll allow it.
Yeah, that's the way I do it too.
Mm-hmm. So there you go. There's your answer, DM Dan. Thank you for the email. And then if you want to write in, rfistaff@gmail.com, 570-865-4210, the hotline. And all the other various ways to contact us. osrgaming.org, of course, as well.
Hey, Vince, yes. I found that PDF of that Unearthed Arcana. And I'm not sure where I picked this up. It was a while ago. But just to get everybody an idea what's in it, they basically, whoever did this is like, I guess, what they thought what they would have done if they did it, Unearthed Arcana. But they like expanded on a little bit on the races, the demi-human races. They added half ogres. They added clerical domains for clerics. If you want to focus, I guess, on a particular facet of clerics, they asked new cleric classes like the cloistered cleric, anti-paladin, the duelist, the necromancer, and the psionicist.
Wow.
Also, basically took the demi-human point of view articles from Dragon and put them in there, and some stuff on psionics, magic item creation, and stuff about the different demi-human gods. So yeah, it's different. So I'll see if I'll put that in the show notes somewhere.
Okay, no problem. All right, so let's head into some Table Manners.
But first, a word from our sponsor, Weston's Golden Soda Biscuits. I'm enjoying one right now. Mmm. Mmm.
Typical. Of all the evil creatures in the world, I had to find one with table manners.
What, are you kidding me? I spent years cultivating the worst table manners on the planet.
Table manners.
Okay, folks. This week in Table Manners, we're gonna talk about what if like some of your people don't show up at the game?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Cancel the game.
You just cancel the game and just say the heck with it, and I'll go home.
Text them hateful messages about their family members.
That too. Tear their character sheets in half. I don't know.
I give them a stern frowning.
Stern frowning. Stern frowning's all around. Got it.
I tend to lock their characters in bathrooms and give them intestinal issues.
Well, basically, what we're going to talk about are like one-shot games, beer and pretzel games, either board games or even role-playing games that you can pull out and say, hey, let's play this. Yeah. So this is like the backup plan, plan B, if everybody doesn't show up. So I guess I'll start it off. I think one of my favorites as far as a backup game to where if no one shows up, or well, not say no one shows up, but
it's kind of boring.
Let's say you got a group of 10 people and only 5 show. What do? I always one of my go-to games is Zombies by Twilight Creations.
Yes, love that game.
Love Zombies, and it's so fast and easy. So anybody who doesn't know, Zombies, Twilight Creation, you're in a town, you start at the center of town with your shotgun guy, and you have 3 lives, 3 little hearts, and you have 3 little bullets, and you have a D6, but you start off at the center of this town. One of the cool things about this game, it's not only is it small, but it expands out into a big board game because the different tiles that builds up the game, it's totally random. So it's a totally random board. It's such a cool concept. And you move your little shotgun guy around, and you can use the little bullets to add 1 to your die roll when you have to fight zombies. And there's also little things that happen within the game. If you could go to certain places when certain tiles are pulled out, like the police station, you can pick up extra bullets. And or if you go to the sporting goods store or the fire station, other places that you could go to, ultimately you got to get to the one place called the helipad. The first player that gets to the helipad wins the game.
Yep.
And there's a long version, the standard long version of the game where the helipad is at the bottom of the tile deck, and you draw a different tile each time when it's a person's turn. Or a shorter version of the game, if you only want to play for maybe a couple hours, if even that, you can shuffle the helicopter pad tile anywhere inside the deck. So that's just kind of that game in a nutshell. And if your little shotgun guy dies, you start back at the center of town.
Yep.
And whatever zombies that you killed, they go back into the zombie pool, I guess, starting over again. Because two objectives of the game: either the first person who gets a helipad or whoever gets 25 zombie kills is the winner of the game. Another beautiful thing of this game is the expansion packs. Yes, this game can be expanded upon. Like Zombies 2, Zombie Corps, which is kind of like an expansion where you go to a military installation. Zombies 6, 6 Feet Under, where you go into the sewers. Another one I just picked up, Zombies 7, Send in the Clowns. Yes, yep. Folks, clown zombies. You also have Shop Till You Drop, which is, I'm looking at zombie box set number 3 is at the mall. They also
you got to have the mall. That is awesome.
Yeah, you got to have the mall one. There's also the one for colleges, Zombie 5, School's Out Forever. Yep. I have up to Zombie 7 right now. And another cool thing about this game is there's also a deck of cards involved. Everybody is dealt out 3 cards for their turn, and you have these cards that do special things. Either they help you out if you get to like a certain area. Like, for example, I think if you get to the toy store and you have a card for skateboard, if you have the skateboard card, you can play that when you get to the toy store, and you can, I guess you can move. You double your movement rate when you roll the die. Yep. So that's one of the things that you can do. But there's other cards where basically, lack of better term, messes with the other players. So you can play them on their turns, and they're like, "Why'd you do that?" Well, because you want to win. So, and some of those cards, they're just downright. For example, you have the card. This isn't so bad. Move any 2 zombies in play to any legal space. So you can move like maybe a couple of zombies towards another player's guy.
Nice.
Another one, hysterical paralysis. Target player skips their next turn, so they get skipped over, and they're just standing there. They're a shotgun guy. This one's a really nasty one. Where did everybody go? Play this card that moved target opponent 5 spaces. So you basically control their shotgun guy and move them 5 spaces. So things like that. So it's just a really, really fun game.
Well, it's got sporting goods and undead clowns. I mean, what more do you want?
I know.
Yeah, and another game along those lines that my group has played, it's basically like a co-op version of Zombies. It's Zombicide by Guillotine Games. And,
okay.
And with this, it's tile-based as well, except the tiles are actually laid out in advance, unlike in Zombies that one gets laid at each turn. And in this game, you may be like, oh, there's some people in there you have to go rescue. and there's markers placed on the board, and you have to go retrieve these people and drive off the board. And if anyone in your party dies, you lose. Or it could be you just have to go in and sweep the room and kill a bunch of zombies. I mean, there's a lot of different win conditions. Also, with this game, there's expansions where they add zombie dogs, and one where you're in a prison. So there's a lot of stuff that can be, a lot of expansions for that as well. And the only thing is a little on the expensive side. It's like a $70 board game, but it's really fun if someone in your group's willing to make the investment.
Yeah, Zombies 4, the end, has the zombie dogs in it.
Yeah.
So
that's one if you want to go.
Another cool.
Yeah. Zombicide's a game if you want that similar zombie feel. Instead of screwing each other, you want to help each other out.
Well, that you mentioned that is I know Twilight Creations. You go to their website, and I know other people have done this too. Is there have been some home brew rules, how gamers are. They got to make their own rules and tinker with everything. So there have been rules for co-op of that game. So yeah, it can be done. Also, other victory conditions and other scenarios. And I think there's even rules for playing solo. So you can look that up on Twilight Creations' website. So there's lots of cool stuff for that game. One of my favorites.
That sounds great. I actually think I will look that up.
Yeah. So
okay,
it's always fun. I mean, just a blast.
So that's your go-to game. Okay, Chad. What about you?
One of mine.
What is your go-to game, Chad?
I probably have two. I mean, I like Paranoia 2nd Edition, and I like Gangbusters. But I'll go kind of shallow into each one. But I'm sure most people are probably familiar with Paranoia, which is basically just a total beer and pretzels game. It's best played actually after imbibing the alcohol.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's just a blast. It's one of those games where you get to just, everything is tongue in cheek. You're living in a non-utopian future that is, you have the computer, and the computer is your friend, and the computer is also paranoid and crazy and thinks that everybody is a commie traitor. So commie mutant traitor. So your role as a troubleshooter with clones, just in case, is to do the good work of the computer, who is merciful and sometimes even allows people to live, in going out and finding people who are commie mutant traitors, which is, of course, everybody, but you have to figure out the ones that are most apparent, or at least at that moment, miffing the computer. So we did one, I always remember back in college, we called it the night before Christmas, and we had to, the computer informed us that there was a known commie mutant traitor by the name of Santa Claus, who was illegally wearing the color red, because everybody wears a jumpsuit with a specified color based on your rank within the society. And Santa was wearing the wrong color illegally and flouting the computer's rules and trying to create anarchy within the computer's utopian society. So we were airdropped off of a C-130 or something like that with heavy artillery. And as we fell around Santa Claus, our job was to take him down. And that was not as easy as it sounded, because Santa Claus was packing heat. So with a Browning 50 caliber machine gun, he was taking us out of the air as we fell. And with a ho, 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 he even used rocket launchers.
You're on the naughty list.
You're a naughty boy. Ho, ho, die. That was fun, And so it's, everybody is tongue in cheek in that game. Everybody is suspecting everybody else at the table of being a commie mutant traitor based on what they say. And so it just gets really crazy and fun as you're playing it. But I'd say the other one that I really like to go to when we're looking for other games to play for one shots would be Gangbusters. I usually play the I believe it's third edition now that we play most often. But that's a game, if you like 1920s gangster type stuff. Gangbusters is awesome. It's one of those TSR games I don't think gets enough of the enough press. It really was a fun game, and you could play prohibition agents like Elliot Ness. You could play gangsters. Most of the games that I run, the players usually play wannabe gangsters. They're usually working for people like Frank the Enforcer Nitti or Al Capone. And generally speaking, most of the adventures revolve around hauling a truckload of hooch amongst the various speakeasies that Capone runs within his empire, while trying to face off competing gangs as well as Elliot Ness and his Untouchables, and that can be played seriously, but I find it's best when you play it with a little bit of tongue in cheek. Also, in that one. Like we had one scene that had everybody just kind of rolling, where near the end of the adventure, they get back to this old warehouse, which is where the stills are, and they get their payment, and as they're about to leave, they open up the door, and Elliot Ness and all his guys are standing outside. Their headlights are framing the door, and Elliot starts monologuing. He's like, "Hey boys, my name's Elliot Ness." And then one of the players just goes, "I slammed the door." In the middle of his monologue, they just slammed the door on Elliot Ness.
He was monologuing. You believe it?
And he turns to the guy next to him. He's like, "Hey, did they just close the door on me?" "I think they did, sir." "Get him, boys."
Meanwhile, Elliot Ness had the door slammed on his face outside Al Capone's secret hideout.
"Today, Elliot Ness." At his door. Anyway, it gets to be really fun. You get to blaze a trail of glory with your Tommy guns and use all your best 1920s speak. You might say, "Hey, I ought to hit you."
23 skidoo.
23 skidoo. It's fun, and we usually have a good time with it. And it's not really a game that we're playing campaign wise, so it's easy to come up with generally one night in Chicago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much what we do.
Yeah, any RPG that runs well as episodic is great for nights when you have a missing player.
Yeah,
like my group will do Top Secret SI. Since that's
a great one.
Yeah.
I love Top Secret SI.
Yeah, it's a fun game, and it's great for just little short episodic scenes. Basically, if you could think of like any TV show like a 24 or something like that, you could totally easily run it in that type of vein.
Really? Oh yeah, and you could do it in a serious fashion, like when we do our Checkpoint Charlie scenarios. We set it in a kind of a grim 1950s Cold War, the era, but you could also take it the other direction. You could go totally Ian Fleming, James Bond, and jetpacks and submersible cars and guys in tuxedos.
I like my martini shaken, not stirred.
Yes. Oh yeah, we ran that game at a convention that was Gamehole actually, and all the players showed up with actual martinis at the table. Yeah, and we had a blast.
Yeah.
Imagine my surprise when Q gave me explosive underwear.
Oh.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to die. Yes. Just once I want to hear one of the players say, no. Yeah, well, actually, that would be me who would say it. I say, "I don't expect you to tell me anything. I expect you to die."
Okay.
That's from Goldfinger.
Ah, yes, that's right. I expect you to die, Mr. Bond.
The big overweight American bad guy.
Or I would be Dr. Evil.
Throw me a freaking bone.
With freaking lasers on their freaking heads.
I call it the Alan Parsons Project.
Yeah.
Preparations A through G failed, but we did find a fix. Preparation H is coming along smoothly. We find it feels good on the whole.
Beautiful. Golf clap for Corey.
You could totally, if you want to do a tongue-in-cheek, you could have all of that going on in the game.
Obviously, that's how I would do it.
Yeah, that's usually how my group does it as well.
The Austin Powers route, it would just generate into that.
Why I ought to slug you. I just like saying that. I don't know why.
Name's Austin Danger Powers. Danger's my middle name.
Yeah, and another game that's along the lines of the tongue-in-cheek, though, is it came from the Late Show.
I've heard stuff about it.
Yeah.
That is a game I keep hearing about. One of the guys in the Dead Games site, he actually ran it at Gen Con one year, and I think it went over really well, but I didn't get to go over to the table to really watch.
Yeah, basically, in this game, your players are actors in a B-horror movie. So when you make your stats, your character is an actor, then the person running the game assigns them a role based on their whatever role they best fit in this B movie they're doing. And it's totally... At that point, though, your actor is that character in this B horror movie.
Wow.
And it's just... There's a lot of breaking the fourth wall where... Oh no, the reel broke, so we have to redo this scene the players can pull out when something doesn't quite go their way. And it's just wacky fun. And with this, in each game, your actor will be playing a different role, unless you're involved in like a sequel. So
well, that's interesting.
Yeah, so in one movie, you could be like, okay, you're like the cop. The next movie, you could be the camp counselor.
Okay.
And in each movie, you gain fame, too, by how well your performance was and how well long your character survived, which then gives you more abilities to get better equipment at the start of the movie because you're famous and you get better wardrobe, and also your actors also have skills, which... Sometimes you'll get assigned a role because your actor knows this skill. Say they need someone who has like computer knowledge for one of the roles, then your actor will take that spot. However, if none of the actors have it, the director can actually give you that skill for this movie and this movie alone. It's just not as good as if you naturally had it.
What if you're Keanu Reeves and you have no skills?
No.
Or Nicolas Cage.
Your skill is being Keanu Reeves.
Whoa.
Dude.
I know Kung Fu.
Exactly.
I just know Keanu Reeves, every movie you see him in, he's always Bill.
Right.
He's always Keanu Reeves.
He's Keanu Reeves.
Same thing with Nicolas Cage.
He's
every
Nick Cage.
film, he's Nick Cage.
Same with Steven Seagal. He's Steven Seagal.
Steven Seagal.
I'm Steven Seagal.
It's either he's either Steven Seagal or he's extra large Steven Seagal.
Yes.
And Arnold is Arnold, no matter what.
Steven Seagal does a sensitive scene.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill you.
That's amazing.
But I'm gonna kill you slowly.
This will hurt me.
Arnold is always Arnold.
Yeah.
I'm Detective John Kimball, otherwise known as Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Whatever movie I could do, stop it, get down.
Yeah.
And Stallone, hey, yo, Arnold.
I'm having such visions if you take all those actors and put them into a B-horror movie together.
Yeah,
what if all the players, like,
it's
you
called The
sign real
Expendables.
actors? Somebody could be Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, no.
We just couldn't do an actual play on the Wild Games Network, though. We don't have enough bleeps.
No. Well, actually, most of the AP podcasts aren't rated family, so we can get away with playing Samuel.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Mine's not.
You know, I could always sound like Morgan Freeman because everything he says sounds smart.
Oh, jeez. You just listen to the Fat Ghost Hammer actual play. There's no beeping in that, so.
Yeah. There needs to be.
Well, it'd be a great beer and pretzel game because just hearing about the game, we're already talking about who we would play, in the game.
I gotta get that game now. 'Cause
Yeah.
that sounds like such a blast.
Yeah.
I've always heard so much stuff about it in the past, and I could never find it. But when people say, "Oh man, you gotta play," it came from the Late Show. It's so much fun. It's so different.
What year was that game out, Matt?
It was in the 90s? and
90 thing.
Yeah. It was put out by Stellar Games. I happened to stumble across it at Half Price Books one day. That's how I even found out about it.
It's funny because there's a game that I was going to recommend called Director's Cut Survival Horror Core RPG book that came out in 2011, which has almost the same exact rules you just said, except they use a 4d6 as their rolling.
Wow. Well, let me just interrupt here and let everybody out there know that currently right now it came from the Late Show 1 and 2 role-playing in bad movies full set is for $25.52 on eBay right now.
Yeah.
They had the Late Show number 2 book for $6, and it looks like the second printing's up there for $10.
Yeah, Noble Knight has a package with books 1 and 2 for $20.
Nice.
Oh, that's good.
You know what? I was just thinking, it'd be really fun to do with that format would be Blazing Saddles.
Oh my
Yes.
God. That'd be great.
Yes.
Or even Space.
Well, I'm just thinking, remember because isn't that a game where it's it's not totally like you're playing an actor in a movie, but at the same time you're an actor in a movie, right?
Oh, what is that? It's is it like, I think it's Director's Cut and they have a bunch of different expansions?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
You're an actor playing an actor in a movie, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's Blazing Saddles. Remember, they're constantly breaking the fourth wall. Remember when they have the bar fight that spills into another movie
Yes.
where they have to fight? It's like supposed to be like
They hurt Buddy. Let's get him, girls.
guys in tuxedos start fighting them.
Yeah. And then there's also the Kung Fu Action Hour.
A lot of people like that.
Yeah. That would be, you could do some wacky stuff with that. And then I have this weird D20 supplement.
Oh?
It is all about blaxploitation films and running an RPG in a blaxploitation art film.
Oh my God, that would be so much fun.
Yes.
That's not 3rd edition. Never mind.
Yeah, it's OGL.
Okay.
But it's D20 based, but it's all about running a blaxploitation film.
Love it.
Yeah.
Cool. You could be like Shaft.
Yeah, or Shonuff.
Shut y'all. I'm just talking about Shaft.
Shaft.
Cleopatra Jones.
That's right. Another couple games that I usually go to for a quick game night is, and if you really want it really quick, if your player's like, Extreme Dungeon Mastery by Tracy Hickman, XDM.
Ooh. Oh, yes.
Perfect game to just pull out because all you have is you can either play the basic game or the advanced game. The basic game has 1 stat, and that's all you need. The advanced game has 3 stats total. And you use
I don't know if I can handle that.
Yeah. Use a D20, and the lower you roll, the better chance you get to do anything. So it's just the opposite. And he said he purposely did that to screw with D&D players. So, but it's a perfect because you could just make up anything what you want. If you want something, you have it. Pretty much. That's pretty much how he described the game. Pull that game out, and you can play that within. Make up a character takes about 20 seconds. You roll a dice, just stat, you're done.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
And that's my first go-to. My second go-to is probably Toon.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people play that.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Easy 2d6 system, and you pretty much play cartoon characters. It takes probably about 15 minutes to make up a character, but once you do that, a lot of people have problems playing Toon, though, because they don't think like cartoon characters. I had a group where we played that, and they just, like, what do you do? I don't know. What do I do? I don't know. They didn't know what to do. I'm like, come on, dude, you're a cartoon character. Pull a hammer out of your butt or something. I could do that. You're a cartoon character. Just make up stuff. Some people just don't understand that. And finally, Army of Darkness by Eden Studios.
Yes.
It takes about 20 minutes to make up a character, but once you do, it's very simple to play. Simple D10, add your modifier, look on the chart on your character sheet, see if you hit. And you can play various things like that, or Buffy or Angel. Those are my go-to games for.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
If you have a group of horrible human beings, Cards Against Humanity is a blast.
That was mine. I was going to hold off and wait till everybody on the show.
I've heard so much stuff about that game too. I mean, even non-gaming circles, Cards Against Humanity has become very, very popular.
They have kicked out so many expansions for that.
Yes, then there's even Crabs Against Humidity. Because when at my friend's birthday party we went to, we sat around in a Victorian home in Victorian garb playing Cards Against Humanity.
Oh my goodness!
We have photos. I need to get them.
Yeah, my Halloween party this year, my Halloween costume party, the rule was you had to come as a card from Cards Against Humanity.
Nice.
And because I actually have the light up Iron Man shirt, I just came as Robert Downey Jr. because it's one of the card answers in the game system. So I was like, all right, I'm Robert Downey Jr. I had somebody come as a large butt boil. There were some really off the wall costumes, man. It was ridiculous.
Yep. Yes,
I'm not familiar with that game.
Essentially?
Oh yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Basically, imagine apples to apples. If you had a bunch of drunk people sitting around, and they were absolutely the most horrible, racist human beings possible.
Well, we're usually drunk.
Yeah.
So
I can provide the drunk
that.
people.
You essentially get 10 cards, I think, is what you start with. You get a handful of cards, and what it is somebody, whoever's turn it is, lays down a black card, and the black card says something like, if it wasn't for blank, I totally would have done blank. And you need to pick 2 of your cards to fill those blanks. And one of them might say, done naughty things with the neighbor's grandmother. And then the next card may say, married that horse. I'm being quite tame here for the show.
Yes.
But I mean, it's a lot worse. But essentially, then you lay your cards out, I lay my cards out, Vince lays his cards out, and then the person who laid the black card down votes and says which one they like the best. That person then.
So this is it's almost like an X-rated version of Match Game 77.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Right. They sell a storage box since there's so many expansions, and it's rather huge, and it's called the Bigger, Blacker Box.
Yes.
Yes. So, yes, I recommend the Bigger, Blacker Box to hold all your cards because, there's tons of cards, and it's absolutely hilarious if you have the right group. We were even playing it with my friend's parents, which was amusing, too.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, there's some messed up expansions for that as well, and you can get them themed too. Like I got a bunch of Whovian friends, so there's a Doctor Who expansion. You can get different type of media expansions and different genres. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it
sounds a little bit like Munchkin as far as the expansion.
Well, that was my next go-to game, man.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right. Yeah.
Nice segue into Munchkin. No, good segue. Good.
Tori, tell us about Munchkin.
So, if you like role-playing games and you want a quick, easy game, this is my number one game for all my friends when they come over because my Risk Legacy board is already completed, so they always pull out Munchkin. Munchkin is the boiled-down, best tongue-in-cheek version of a role-playing game I've ever found. It literally is a card game where your levels, you have 10 levels. You get to level 10, you win. You literally are a fighter or a wizard or whatever, and you kick a door in, kill a monster, take the treasure, move on. Yeah. And the cards are so tongue-in-cheek. There is a bastard sword, and the sword on it says "You're not my father." There's cards in there that it's like what is it the Morning Star. It's just a woman, and you grab her by her feet, and she's crying. Like there's so many like bad jokes and puns in there. And they've come out with I think it was 14. What are they up to now?
Oh my gosh, they got so many expansions. They got a superhero one.
They have a Cthulhu one.
They got a Cthulhu one, which is really good.
They've got spies. They've got superheroes, vampires.
They have a Penny Arcade expansion. They have an expansion for the Guild. They have expansion for Conan the Barbarian, spoofing them. There's one done for Kung Fu Theater, which is one of my favorites. And you can mix and match all the expansions into one massive game. And like the Kung Fu cards are like you when you're playing the game, you don't have a race or a class. And as you draw cards, one of the cards might say elf. Well, now you're an elf, and now you get special abilities. And when you open up a door, you draw a card, which is kicking the door in. And if it's a monster in your hand, you have to fight it. Well, you measure your level, effective level, versus the monster's level. And when you get that Morning Star, it might add +2 to your levels. Well, if you're already level 4 and you're now level 6, you beat the dragon if your level's higher. And essentially, there's cards that build upon other cards, upon other cards, upon other cards. There's there's a card that just says from Hong Kong, and it gives it a +1 to your weapon. And then there's like of my grandfather, which adds +2 to your level. So, and then you pick up like the bong, the Hong Kong bong from Hong Kong of my grandfather by adding all 3 of those cards together.
Yeah.
You're now like effectively level 15. There's a Star Wars one. There's a Space Marines for any of you Games Workshop 40K players out there. There's Space Munchkin is pretty hilarious. And well, you pick up races and classes, and you can be a mutant, and there's cards in there that allow you to multi-class and be a half-breed, so you can be an elf dwarf or an elf mutant or whatever you want. But the best part about the game is the game, Steve Jackson, the way he makes this game, it goes beyond just the cards. If you go to cons, and any of you out there listening go to cons and you're interested in this game, look at the tables. Steve Jackson pumps out hundreds of additional swag he throws to cons, bookmarks, book sleeves, t-shirts. And if you own these, there are special rules connected to each of these items.
Yes.
I have a
Oh my
bookmark.
God, you're kidding.
Yeah, no, I have a bookmark that allows me to look at everybody's hand, take 3 cards that I want, give 3 cards that I want away, and then I got to tear up the bookmark. Right. I have a t-shirt that as long as I'm playing Star Munchkin, I get to make a rule. Like there's different, yeah, dude, it's ridiculous. Yeah. And like,
so there's like a metagaming aspect to it.
Yes, yes.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
And the great thing is you can combine all the expansions together to make a Mega Munchkin, because they release blender sets. So cards that will actually let you be a half-orc kung fu master.
Fighting Cthulhu.
With a laser rifle.
Yes.
And a Mac.
Of my grandfather.
Yes.
In a Mac.
So
that is awesome.
But if
so
you
it's
read
like
the rules,
but with cards.
Yeah, it's like if you read the rules, it even tells you in there. It goes, yeah, whoever owns the box and whoever's house you're at, they make the rules. So if there's a disagreement, it's whoever owns the box, they get to make the final rule. And it actually says in the rules, you are allowed to cheat.
Right.
But if you get caught, then you go back down to level 1.
Yep.
But
it's
as long
not
as you don't get caught.
Yep. Like
yeah,
Jesse,
it's not cheating unless you get caught.
Exactly.
But Steve Jackson, didn't he put out Illuminati also?
Yes, he did.
There is an Illuminati expansion. Oh my gosh.
Well, no. Illuminati is a standalone card game.
Oh yeah.
But that one out first. But that was Steve Jackson game.
Yeah, he put out an Axe Cop expansion for that cartoon that the guy draws for his little brother. There's a Jump the Shark expansion. Crazy, ridiculous. Oh, and then he put out a bunch of dungeon cards, which are bigger cards that change the way the entire table plays. Like there's one that says like the dungeon of the sticky men or something, where all your foot gear that you have that are magical boots, they don't work. You lose them, and yeah, it's crazy. Some of the rules that they start adding into it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it devolves into like if you've ever played Flux, where Yes, it's similar to that, and the rules will change drastically depending on what you're playing with.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the basic mechanics are the same. And actually, Flux is another one of those. It's one of those games that you can play, and it's like super quick. And just another fun one. It's like you start with the rule, draw one, play one, and basically you're trying to just get these like object cards and make a pair. And once you make the pair, you win. Seems simple, except other players will start playing other cards that change the rules. Instead of draw one, play one, it'll be draw 5, play 2, or you draw none and play reverse. I mean, so it's wacky, but it's a quick, fun game.
Well, there's one other Steve Jackson game that I don't think anyone's mentioned yet, that it's a great beer and pretzel, and that's Car Wars.
Yeah, I was just thinking Car Wars, man. Awesome. Yes.
I've had some fun playing that one. I mean, that's how you're going to get your Road Warrior fix on.
Yep. In fact, I was part of the very first Car Wars AADA group that was ever formed out of Omaha, Nebraska. It was called NOVA, the New Omaha Vehicular Association. I was the treasurer. back in 1980 something or another. And yeah, Car Wars was such a great game. If you could still find it, I think you can. But it's such a fun game. You don't even have to make up a car on your own. You can take one of the stock cars out of there. Every character, the rules are pretty simple. And just have at it. Build a scenario, quick scenario, and there you go.
Yeah. Have you guys ever heard of a card game called Nuclear War?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I played that with Ernie Gygax. I went over to Ernie's house one day. Actually, I think I played it with Jason and Ernie. And I had a blast. That game was so cool because you start out, it's an old game. Ernie's got like one of the original boxes for
it. Was like came out like late 50s or early 60s originally.
Oh yeah, totally during, like the whole Cold War, nuclear atomic scare era, And you start the game out and you're doing propaganda. Mm-hmm. So everybody's got a country and at least the original one had a little spinner deal instead of dice. I think later on they dropped the spinner and went to dice, but everybody's got a hand of cards. You have the little spinner deal, which you spin when it's your turn, but you can play your cards and you can play propaganda where you're trying to pull people from the other guy's country over to your country. But the minute somebody plays a nuclear warhead card, it's like Cold War has just begun. You can't do any more propaganda, and you lay 3 cards out in front of you, and they're in the order that like each round you put one of your cards down, and it's face down. Only you know what it is. And then the next time it's your turn, you put another one, but this time it's behind it, so it's like moving up, right? Whatever you put down, and so you want to be careful how you put them down because you can have a nuclear warhead, but you now need a way to deliver that payload. So you have you had the different what was the Apollo whatever it was
space capsule.
Right, not the capsule, but the rocket itself. That was a
Atlas.
An Atlas. So you can have there are various types of missiles. Atlas is one of them, and it carries the biggest payload. So you have to have your nuclear warhead, and then right behind it, you have to have your Atlas missile or whatever type of missile you have. I think there are like 3 or 4 different types of missiles, and they're all real types of missiles. But and then when you can you can declare that I'm firing my. Once you also have like the big B. I forgot the ones that could drop nuclear missiles back in the 50s, but you also have those so you can. I think they give you greater distance or something like that, but. You basically pick one person you're going to fire your nuclear missile at, and then you do the spinner and figure out how many people he lost. And there could be a wind that blows radioactive wind back to somebody else. And I think there was that in the game, but it was a blast. We had a lot of fun with that game.
Isn't that the one where the little mascot is called Skippy?
I don't think we ever used him.
And I know there was a expansion called Nuclear Escalation that came out later.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, literally a white box.
Oh wow! Okay, that's
one of the originals because you
that's
can still
got to be one of the originals.
Yeah, because you could still get that game from Flying Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was who made it, Flying Buffalo. Anyway, that's definitely one you should try out too if you ever get a chance. Nuclear War it's a blast to get a bunch of guys around the table.
It's a blast.
Speaking of Nuclear War, I don't know if any of you out there have played Risk. Well, obviously.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I love Risk.
Yeah. There is a new version of Risk out, and I am a big hater for Risk because of how long the games take. I remember back in middle school asking my mom to go to my friend's house because it was my time to take my turn on Risk. We had games going for like weeks because
it's insane.
Well, my group won't play Risk with me because the last time we played Risk, the game was over in 30 minutes.
Okay, well, the new version of Risk is called Risk Legacy. And whoever came up with this idea is the most genius and badass person. I want to shake their hand and take them to dinner for this version.
Wow.
You get the game board, and as soon as you open up the box,
it explodes.
That's funny. No, there's a sticker on the back of the board that says, "For those of us who are about to create genocidal war, please sign this board." Everybody who first plays your game in the first night signs the back of your board. As you open the board, there's a whole bunch of weird symbols around each of the countries. You also notice on the roof, the lid of the box, there are small envelopes that are closed with words on them that says, when the first person is kicked off the game, open this envelope and add the cards to your cards. The next one says, when the first person drops 4 cards and gets 30 men for reinforcements, open this envelope. There are different envelopes that you don't open in the beginning of the game. As you progress through this game, the game changes itself. And when you win the game, the person who wins your game must sign your board on the front. Over to the left of where South America is, where usually it says risk and all that other stuff, there are 15 lines, and they sign your board. And each of you don't get green, purple, red, and yellow anymore. You get actual race cards. And each of the races have all these slots on the front. And when you're going through the rule book, you'll notice there's parts of the rule book missing. It says, when you open up this envelope, add sticker X here. When you open up this envelope, add sticker K here. And you're like, what the hell? The game changes from game 1 to game 15. It is a completely different game. So the moment the first person gets kicked out of the game, you open up the envelope and there's a whole bunch of cards, and essentially they give you cards like low ammo. And you get to put that sticker, if you're given that card, it's a sticker. You actually peel off that card and stick it onto the game board, permanently making Irkutsk, whoever owns Irkutsk, gets a -1 to their die rolls when defending it because they're low on ammo. Then you have another one that says mercenaries, and it's another sticker you can put somewhere else that says, if you own this, at the end of your turn, you get an extra man there because you got a mercenary.
Holy moly,
the
that's
game
wild.
changes completely. And then when you kick somebody out of the game, you find stickers in there that says whoever got kicked out first gets to look through all the stickers, and it's a racial sticker that changes the way your race plays, and you get to actually add something to the front of your race. So it may say, when you start the game next time, you get an additional 5 men, or when you're pushing through Europe, any blue map area, you get an additional man per each spot. So then it goes around the board. As people get kicked out, you get to pick your own blue sticker. So my stickers on my races at game 15 are going to look completely different than the stickers that you have on your races. So when you win the game, okay, everybody gets a headquarters, and when you win the game, you win by collecting more than 4 headquarters. If you have 4 headquarters, you win the game. Okay. So a lot of people just push straight through. They're not going for world domination. They're gunning for your headquarters. After you win the game, you get a nuclear missile, which is why I segued into this. This nuclear missile changes any of your die rolls to a 6. You may use it at any subsequent game you play. If you come back and your name is on that left-hand side on the board, you get a missile. So you're like, okay, go ahead, roll. Hey, guess what? I'm dropping my nuclear missile. There's another envelope that says when 3 nuclear missiles are used in 1 die roll combat, open this envelope. When you open the envelope, there is a new race. It is the mutants. You must put a nuclear symbol on that one area where everybody was contesting, and it changes depending on where you were fighting at the time it happened. Your board's going to look different. Then there's now a new race in the game. Whoever dropped the 3rd missile gets a sticker on theirs that's called Bringer of Fire. There's also another hidden race. I won't ruin it for you because there's a hidden race on there that says when somebody drops 30 men or it does something, you open up this new race package. And when you open up, there's a new race that totally flips the game. It's ridiculous. And I never noticed this until my friend brought his over when I didn't have mine. I pulled the actual plastic container that holds all the cards and everything in. I pulled it out of the box. There is a hidden envelope in the bottom of the box that says "Do not open, period, ever."
Okay.
Oh man, that's like the big red button.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's going to be staring at it.
I went online and checked their wiki, and I found out that there are 5 different versions of the cards that are in that envelope. So your cards may be different than my cards, and they change drastically your game itself. And even after you get to the 15th game and all the cards are out and all the stickers are out and all the races are out, you now have your map set for your world, and then Risk is then played normally on this board that you've destroyed Earth, and you have other races out, and it's ridiculous. It's a fun game. The games do not take 7 days. They actually take usually about an hour to 2 hours if everybody's played before. Usually takes about an hour to an hour and a half to play a normal Risk game.
Oh, nice.
You gotta check it out.
Yeah.
It's called Risk Legacy. It's
It looks
awesome.
like it goes for about $45-$50.
Yep. Yeah, it's
Wow.
it's totally worth it. Totally worth it.
That sounds good. I like that. So every game is unique.
Yes, and you bring your board over to my house, and you're at game 15, and I'm at game 15. Your board's gonna look completely different. Like we've nuked Madagascar. Madagascar is where we drop the nukes, so no one can go on Madagascar. If you land there, your men you lose half your men every turn because of nuclear fallout.
Oh,
Wow.
nice.
But like you might drop your nukes in northern Ontario, so you might have your nuke up there. So the board is going to look completely different when you take it from one person's house to another. It's a really cool idea, and everybody's like, "Well, what happens after you get to game 15? Now you got to go buy a new game." Well, no, because you play the Ritz board as it is, but because you know what's in there and you know that the card envelopes are different, there's 4 or 5 variations of the cards. You might buy another one, and it might be completely different cards. It's such an awesome business model. It's a great board game too.
Sounds really cool.
I'm looking at Amazon. Average reviews is 5 stars for Risk Legacy.
Yeah, it's on the eBay right now for $29.99 right now.
Yeah.
Another game I got to look at.
Yeah, this looks really fun.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh boy, my birthday's coming up. So.
Yeah, pretty cool.
So yeah,
there you go. A lot of good go-to games there for that game night where not everybody can show up.
Yep.
Now you know what to do.
Yeah.
if you can't figure out what to do from that, then just don't play.
Yeah.
Just cancel and find better game friends.
Yep.
Definitely. All right. I guess that's going to wrap up everything for this show. Corey, thank you for stopping by today.
Anytime,
thanks,
man.
Corey.
Have me. Thanks, guys. It was fun.
If you want to hear more of Corey and you think you're enamored and love Corey so much, you can go to thakoshammer.info, listen to him on Thakos Hammer, and learn more about this second edition thing that came out that we don't care about too much. But
Well, maybe you don't.
Well, they did reintroduce the Gazetteer worlds from Basic into Second Edition.
We did.
Yeah.
I gotta admit, though, in second edition, the psionics work a lot better.
I will disagree there, but you guys know where I stand on First Edition.
We'll
Psionics.
agree to disagree.
It can be done, and it can be good.
Okay.
so yeah, that'll wrap things up. We'll say keep it original, keep it old school. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.
All right.
The Roll for Initiative podcast is a production of Wild Games Productions in association with D20Radio.com. You can visit us at RFIPodcast.com or contact us on our forums at OSRGaming.org or even by calling us at 570-865-4210. This podcast is produced for entertainment purposes only. All other uses are prohibited. And remember, if your magic missile spell doesn't automatically hit, you're playing the wrong edition. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Roll for Initiative.